Here are my top 10 favorite Lord of the Rings extended edition scenes. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 10 is Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli arriving in Gondor with the Ghost Army.
You may go no further. You will not enter Gondor.
And stopping the Corsair ships, the pirate ships, from entering Gondor. I think this scene is so badass. It's one of my favorite Lord of the Rings scenes. I think it's so funny and I love the humor in it. I love when Aragorn tells Legolas to shoot one of the pirates in his ear, but Gimli sort of moves Legolas's bow and he kills the guy instead, and Aragorn just gives this annoyed look at Gimli. I love this scene. I think it's hilarious, and I love the ghost army that charges at the pirates. It's so badass too. It's a perfect way to start like the second disc of the extended trilogy. I don't hate the ghost army in this movie at all. I really enjoyed them. I think that they are so cool and badass, and I don't have a problem with them. I know a lot of people think that they sort of resolve the conflict of Minas Tirith pretty early, but I think that they are just so much fun and they add like such a cool aspect to this movie. Number 9 is Aragorn tasting Eowyn stew in the Two Towers when the Rohan crew are traveling to Helm's Deep, and we sort of learn more about Aragorn and even Eowyn and Gimli at the same time. I love this scene because it's got this comedic element to it, and I love it when Eowyn wants Aragorn to taste the stew. But of course, that stew doesn't look all that tasty. But like when you're hungry, I would have like probably ate that stew nonetheless, even though like it doesn't look very good. But Aragorn, being the gentleman that he tastes the stew and he tries to pour it, but Eowyn turns around and he doesn't at the right moment. It's hilarious. Eowyn tells Aragorn that King Theoden told her that his grandfather rode to war with Aragorn, and she doesn't understand it. She doesn't understand that because he looks young, but then Aragorn tells her that he is actually 87 years old and he is one of the Dunedain. So there you go. Number 8 is the House of Healing. The House of Healing scene in Return of the King is one of my favorite additions to the extended trilogy. I love this scene. I love when Éomer just screams in despair when he sees the body of his sister and he thinks that she's dead. It's like so hard to watch. Like the music is incredible. I love this moment so much, and I think it just adds a lot more to the movie when you see like the aftermath of the battle and like the damage that it caused. I think that this scene is just really tremendous. It's really great, and it adds a little more context to the Faramir and Eowyn relationship that was in the book, but it was sort of like omitted from the theatrical versions. I'm glad that they at least sort of included it in the extended version. I really enjoyed the House of Healing scene. Number 7 is Aragorn confronting Sauron with the Palantir at the end of Return of the King. I love this moment so much. I think that it's such a great and intense moment when Aragorn takes the Palantir and he shows Sauron like the sort of a land deal. He wants to show Sauron that he is not bluffing, that he can and will take the entire orc army if he has to. Like, I love this moment because it shows how badass of a character Aragorn is, and it really feels like Sauron is afraid of him, even though like he sort of taunts Aragorn as well with like showing him the vision of Arwen like dying, and of course that takes Aragorn by surprise. He drops the necklace. I love the moment so much. I think that it's such a great addition to the theatrical versions. Number 6 is Merry and Pippin finding Saruman's food pantry. I love this moment. I love the humor between Merry and Pippin, and I love these characters. And I think that these moments are really needed after like this big event that happens, this big war with the Ents. They overtake Isengard, and it's just this epic moment. Like these moments of levity afterwards, like really work. They are just there to calm the storm, and I love the jokes between Merry and Pippin, and I love when they find the food, and then like Pippin finds the apple, and he sort of looks up and things that like Aragorn threw it at him. It's just really great stuff. And they find like the pipe weed. It's just great. I love the humor in these movies. Number 5 is Gandalf explaining to Pippin the decline of Gondor. I love this speech from Gandalf when he explains to Pippin after they storm out of the meeting with Denethor, which of course doesn't really go well. Gandalf explains to Pippin like why Minas Tirith city isn't what it once was.
Faint and fading hope that one day it will flower. The king will come, and this city will be as it once was.
It's completely different. Like the king sort of stopped caring. They made tombs more splendid than the houses of the living, and some of them even like started asking questions of the stars. It's just really well written. It feels like poetry almost, the way Gandalf says it. I love this scene, and I love like the shots of Minas Tirith too. Like I love seeing more of the city. I am sort of like bummed that we don't see any farms or any houses on the Pelennor Fields in these films. But I love the city of Minas Tirith nonetheless, and I love this moment between Gandalf and Pippin, and it shows that the bond between Gandalf and Pippin is sort of getting stronger. It's the strongest it's ever been in Return of the King, and I kind of appreciate that as well. Number 4 is the Mouth of Sauron scene in Return of the King. I love this moment. I think that this moment is awesome, and I love it when we see the Mouth of Sauron and he tells the good guys about Frodo. He shows the mithril vest, and of course it's like devastating to our heroes. Merry and Pippin, they scream out the name of Frodo, and they're really sad, and Aragorn sort of doesn't believe it. And here's the reason why, like, he shouldn't have believed it. First of all, there was no blood on the mithril shirt. Second of all, where is the body? Like, where is Frodo? I don't think that there was enough evidence for them to believe that Frodo was dead. And I'm glad that they still attack as many of these orcs come as they can, so that they can give Frodo enough time to destroy the ring. I love this moment. I love the way the Mouth of Sauron looks as well. It's such like a disgusting creature. And I love, of course, Gimli's line when he says, I guess that concludes the negotiations. Number 3 is the moment where Boromir tells Aragorn about the White Tower of Ectelion, which is the tower at the very top of Minas Tirith. I love this scene so much, and I love the character of Boromir. Boromir is one of my favorite characters ever, and I love that in the extended editions we get more scenes between him and Aragorn. Their characters are even more developed here, and I really like this scene in particular because the way it's written, the way he describes the White Tower is just so beautiful. It really feels like poetry. Kind of like when Gandalf tells Pippin of the decline of Gondor. It kind of feels like that. And I'm kind of sad that they didn't include this in the theatrical versions, because I think this moment is beautiful. It just really just gives me the feels, and I love this world so much. Number 2 is the flashback between Denethor, Boromir, and Faramir in Gondor in the Two Towers. To me, this flashback is essential to the entire trilogy. I don't care what Peter Jackson was thinking when he cut this scene out of the theatrical editions. You needed this scene in these movies. It was so well done, and you get more dynamic between the family members. You sort of understand the pressure that Boromir is in because of his really dick father Denethor, and you understand why Faramir acted the way he did at the end of the towers when he takes Frodo like hostage almost in Osgiliath, even though like it doesn't happen in the book. I love this flashback scene so much. I wish it was in the theatrical editions of the film. I really do. For Gondor! For Gondor! For Gondor! My number one scene, I'm sure like you probably guessed it, it's the death of Saruman, which is an essential scene to the entire plot of the series. I don't understand why it was cut from the theatrical editions. I know that Christopher Lee was upset that it was cut, and rightfully so, because this scene is essential. You have to know what happened to Saruman. I loved seeing him and Grima like one more time after the two towers, and like I need a conclusion for them. They're so important with the overall Lord of the Rings mythos that you kind of have to end their story. You can't just say, oh, he will just remain in the tower. That's not enough. You have to see them like die at least. The way it was done, the execution was a bit sloppy in the scene, sort of. Like it doesn't feel all that natural. It feels a bit forced. Like I don't like the way Grima dies. I don't like the fact that like it's Legolas that kills him. It just doesn't really make all that much sense. But at least we get closure, and it's intense the way like Grima stabs Saruman in the back, and then Saruman just like falls down the tower, and we finally see why the Palantir is like in the water. I like this scene very much, and I think that it's the most important added scene in the entire extended trilogy. I love watching these movies. I watch them every year, at least once, if not twice a year. I love these movies. I love the world of Middle Earth. And yeah, I think that the extended editions are the correct viewing. I think that they're the best version of these films. You can fight me on that, you can debate me on that. I think that the extended editions are the way to watch these movies, especially Return of the King, like is the best one of the three, just without a doubt. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the Lord of the Rings extended versions down in the comments below. Like, what are your top 10 favorite scenes, or just your favorite scene in general? Let me know, and please like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.